Hey y'all, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about this woman right here, Miss Ginger Alden. In November of 1976, Ginger's sister Terry was Miss Tennessee, and Elvis wanted to meet the new Miss Tennessee, so Elvis had his good friend George Klein call Terry and offered Terry the chance to meet Elvis. Obviously, she took George up on that offer, and Terry, not wanting to go alone, asked if her sister Ginger could go, and obviously they did, and Ginger describes in her book it was like Alice going through the looking glass, and I highly recommend Ginger's book. It's called Elvis and Ginger, a great book. And so they go through the gate, and they pull up obviously to the front of the house, and they're kind of wondering what to do. And in her book, Ginger says a security guard came up out of the dark and kind of surprised the two of them, or kind of scared them a little bit. And Ginger and I guess Terry asked, what do they do? And the security guard says, try knocking on the front door, and that's what they did. I believe it was George Klein that opened the door for him, or one of the maids. And they go into the den, which is the jungle room. That's what the fans know it as today, but Elvis didn't know it as the jungle room. He knew it as his den, and they sat there, and then George and they comes into the room, and they talk, and then they go upstairs to Elvis's daughter Lisa's bedroom, and then a few hours later, as they're sitting in Lisa's bedroom, of course Elvis walks in, and Ginger jumps up and says, "Hi, Elvis," like she had known him for a while. And that's kind of where it all started. And one of the coolest things Elvis and Ginger ever did was this impromptu trip to Vegas, I believe, the next day or a few days after that. Elvis showed Ginger his little Lockheed Jetstar. I believe it wasn't the Lisa Marie. I believe it was one of the other planes that Elvis had, the one that Colonel Parker would use. If it was the Lisa Marie, I apologize. I forget exactly which plane it was. And so they fly out to Vegas. And they only stay there for like a day and a half. And then another really cool moment was in January of 1977, I believe, a couple of weeks after Elvis's birthday. Elvis proposes to Ginger on January 26th, 1977. And they obviously now are planning on getting married. The wedding date was set for December of 1977, but Elvis always told Ginger God would always come through and tell him when it was time for them to get married. And there were a lot of trying and difficult moments in their relationship. For instance, when they were out in Hawaii, the last vacation in March of 1977, Elvis wanted, I believe it was either mango juice or papaya juice, and Ginger kind of told Elvis, you don't really need any more of it, and he got visibly upset, and I think maybe a little bit of an argument happened. And then a few months after that, in June of 1977, I may be skipping around a little bit, in June of 1977, Elvis would start his final concert tour, or the concerts tour would actually start in February. His final filmed concert would be the CBS television special that would air in October of that year. The last concert he did was in June of 1977 in Indianapolis, Indiana, at Market Square Arena, which is no longer there. It's been destroyed. I believe it was destroyed in 2001. And Elvis introduced his father, Ginger, and obviously he would introduce his band like he normally did. And one of the greatest songs Elvis ever sang on stage, and you can look this up on YouTube, was Unchained Melody. Him sitting at the piano, and Charlie Hodge is holding the microphone, and it is just an amazing performance. That was the last performance Elvis ever did on stage, and unknown to anybody, 6 weeks later, Elvis would be dead. And Ginger talks about that in her book, having that happen, and just she was the one that found Elvis on the floor of the bathroom, and when she turned him over, because he was in a fetal position, when she turned him over, she could hear a little bit of air come out of his nose, and there may have been a little bit of hope, hopefully, that Elvis was still alive, but no, he was gone. He had been gone a very long time before Ginger had found him, and then obviously they take him to the hospital. Nothing really could be done, sadly, but Elvis and Ginger's relationship was really amazing. Elvis bought Ginger's parents a house there in Memphis, and it was just a great thing. I know Elvis had bought her a few outfits, believe gave her a car, and like I mentioned earlier, I would highly recommend Ginger's book. And another moment I want to mention real quick happened. This would involve Elvis, Ginger, and Ginger's grandfather. It was Ginger's grandfather's funeral, and this is a picture from that day. I believe it happened in Arkansas, and it was... he didn't want to make a big scene going to the funeral, so he did, but he kind of like snuck in, I believe. So like he didn't want to take the attention off of the funeral, and Ginger talks about that in her book. Like I said, a great book Ginger wrote, and she said this in interviews. Shortly after Elvis died, she wrote down all of her memories of Elvis, and it's just an amazing life that she had with Elvis. Hopefully one day I get a chance to meet Ginger Alden. I'd love to meet her or interview her, just to ask her what was it like to be around Elvis Presley. And I do hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of today's video, and I will talk to y'all later.